Hello, hello, what's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Smyrno back again with another banger coming your way. Today I wanted to showcase every little secret spot and every little niche area on each map in Splitgate Arena Reloaded. I will be covering only the arena maps today. I won't be going into detail with any sort of spots on the takedown or the onslaught maps, but every arena map, including the 5 new ones that came out with the new update, I will cover in today's video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with it. Alrighty, so we're going to start on one of the new maps, or rather some of the maps they brought back from Splitgate 1. If you jump on those rocks there in blue spawn and then go to this top portal wall, you get a really good look at Railgun. Next, if we go inside middle here, we can jump on this little object right here. This is actually one of the points that spawns on King of the Hill, and you get a really nice view of Railgun. So next, we're going to go outside mid. These 2 portal walls here you can actually play on. I like this one, this first one especially, because it has a little head glitch on it. It's also a really good spot if you're trying to escape from someone chasing you in these little corridors here and on Abyss. This other one you can play as well. It's not as good because it doesn't have a head glitch, but both of them still give you decent viewpoints to those pop portals. And lastly, I wanted to showcase these 2 little windows here in blue spawn. You can go back and forth between these, and it can be really effective for escaping or trying to break your enemy's ankles. Alright, so now we find ourselves on Academy. So I have a 2-in-1 for you now. Right now we're outside on split stream, and whenever I'm in engagements out here, if they're ever, unfavorable for me, I like to dip underneath here where rush spawns, and you can kind of play this really well, go in and out of cover, and dip underneath. No one really expects that, quite honestly. And then secondly, you saw it a little bit earlier, these little grates right here on the bottom, you can kind of shoot through those and portal through them. It's a nice little route that you can implement. Now, this next one on Academy might not be very applicable to your game, but it's still a cool spot nonetheless. If you get enough momentum going out of those portals, you can go straight up in the air really high and straight through that little circular part of top mid. Alrighty, so now we're on one of my favorite maps, Bypass. Bypass doesn't have a ton of secret spots, but it does have a ton of underutilized spots, like the 2 back portions of the map here. This one's on red side. You have access to these rocks back here if you're playing this back side of C or a point on King of the Hill. You can have somebody back here with like a Quantum or a Scout, and it's just very impressive. So this is another underutilized spot underneath top heaven or top mid, wherever you want to call it. You can challenge B or the King of the Hill point that spawns, and you can't really get portal behind you, so it's a really good head glitch. So this is on the other side of the map. This is blue spawn, blue base, and just like I was saying with red spawn and red base, playing this back part of the map, a lot of people don't expect you to be back here. There's some decent head glitches like this rock when you're playing. I think it's either A or C right there, but it's also a good spot as well if you're like skating around and trying to keep your momentum. And last but certainly not least, over on the launch pad / tower part of the map in middle, you can play on top of these portal walls here and have decent angles on both points of A and C, which I will be showcasing here. You can see both parts, both portals are good spots just to kind of chill on, especially if it's on no portals. And lastly on Bypass, if you go all the way to the back of the map here, you can find a cute little friend. Shout out to PrincesssDonut. She's the one that helped me find this little guy right here. Alright, so now to one of my favorite maps and favorite spots on Core. You have this little jump up here where Hypersight spawns, and you have a really good sight of both points and both Borealises as well. and you can chow from the other sides as well. I used to do this all the time when you could portal with split ball, where you can basically put a portal here and then on this wall here, and then you can get Bori. It's a super good spot. So next I wanted to highlight the two back portions of the map on both gold and purple spawn. There are some pretty nice head glitches back here, especially this one, and they're great if you're holding a King of the Hill point or you want to play for Bori. Okay, so this next one here isn't really a spot, but it's more something you can do. You can glide on top of this part here, and it's great for escapes. And lastly, I have a bit of a 2-in-1. You can play on top of this little like lantern lamp, like light looking thing. And then you can also sit in this little window crevice as well. Decent spots if you're trying to juke your enemies or go for an escape. Alright, so now we're on my favorite map, which has got to be Eden. There aren't a ton of little hidey spots on this map, but there are two that I'll showcase. They're both kind of by Bori here. One's on top part. If you're ever getting shot from outside mid, you can use these walls here to protect yourself, and then you can also drop down, hide in these little like cubby holes, and these spots are great because there aren't a lot of like portal options, and you can block those two launch pads there to help you out. Alright, so I've brought us here to fronts here. The first spot is behind the control point here. You can play this little head glitch behind the portal wall, and it can just be super, super oppressive for the enemy team. So the next spot on Frontier is right underneath both red and blue base. It's actually this grate right underneath here. Super good if you're ever playing split ball or King of the Hill. So the next spot is very close to where we just were. It's basically behind these trees here. This part of the map, I don't see a lot of people utilizing it, but if the King of the Hill point spawns here, you can use these trees as cover, and honestly a lot of people won't really focus you over here, and it's definitely a decent spot. There's some decent cover, and you can utilize this whole back portion of the map. So the next spot that I have is by the jump pads where the deadbolt usually spawns, and it's these little like cubby like hidey holes underneath the jump pads on each side. They're definitely decent spots if you're ever getting chased out there. And then this next spot here I have is the behind the portals on Overshield. You can actually peek behind these and get some pretty unique angles, so I would definitely try it out. And last but certainly not least is another Easter egg. Shout out to PrincesssDonut again for finding this, but if you go all the way underneath here, you find a cute little chicken just chilling. Okay, so we find ourselves on the map of Grit. I have two spots to show you, one of which is not really a spot, but if you're ever being chased on this top mid bridge up here, you can kind of ride these roofs to get away. It's definitely a good spot to try out. And then secondly, this is on both sides of the map, on the base, the control point, but you can sit on this top ledge here, and this is honestly one of the most useful spots in the game, especially if you're defending a King of the Hill point. Alright, now with that being said, we are on Hammerhead. There's a couple different spots, one of which is right outside here, right where Deadbolt spawns. You can actually fit right underneath this little, right on top of the tread there, which is a cute little spot. Now we are at Fubar spawn, and there's more than one of these locations on the map, but this is one of the grates that they have going from Fubar to the bottom of the map. And then there is another one here right on B spawn. If you're ever in trouble when you're outside mid, you can easily portal away or shoot through that grate and find a new spot to play on. Now after that, there are two more ledges that you can kind of play on inside mid here. This is a great spot if there's a King of the Hill point, which commonly spawns, and it's pretty hard to shoot you from that. And then lastly, on Hammerhead, we have a portal kill location. It's literally right by that flame there. If you shoot a portal in there, the player that will follow you will insta-die. Okay, so now we're on one of the beloved Splitgate 1 maps that have returned in Splitgate Arena Reloaded Carmen Station. So you can play on these little outside areas outside of blue and red base, and then you can actually jump right over the top, and that's how you can access the control points that spawn. Additionally, in these rooms, you can play on these portal walls here that spawn in the outer parts of blue and red base. Definitely nothing too crazy with these, but they're always helpful, especially in like no portal modes if you want to get a unique angle to surprise your enemies. And then last but certainly not least, there's a way that you can get on top of the portal, the big portal by deadbolt spawn. You kind of just have to fly up through those bottom portals, and then that's how you can access the top of this portal. Gives you a really good view of the map, allows for some really cheeky angles and easy access to railgun, which is kind of a hard power weapon to get on this map. Okay, so now we're on Oasis, another map that has been brought back to Splitgate Arena Reloaded. Underneath the back parts of the map on these back portals, you can actually play underneath those rocks there, which is a super cheeky angle when you're playing on King of the Hill. Another thing to mention is that these outer little jump up rings outside of tower are decent places to play on if you can't use the portals for whatever reason. And then last but certainly not least, I love using this spot on King of the Hill specifically whenever the capture point spawns back here, or on domination. That the two big portal walls back there are big hotspots, and you can actually hide behind these, and you can't really get portaled on from behind you, which is a great spot to heal up and regenerate. And then you can also climb on top of this ring and get some angles on railgun and deadbolt. So now we're on one of my favorite maps, which has got to be Ozone. There's a couple different spots on this map, one of which is this small little outside railing back by the red and blue bases respectively. A lot of people don't know about this spot, and it's a good spot if you're ever getting chased and you can't really portal away. And then with that being said, on this part of the map, it's always important to keep in mind you have this jump pad down here, and you can fall off the map at really any point in red or blue base and kind of catch yourself with that jump pad. Really good, throws people off when they think that you were going to die. So shout out to that spot. Now if we look underneath both red and blue base, you can teleport through the center of the map on points A and C using that circular portal wall there. And then if we're looking at Mohawk or Tower, I love these little grassy patios. They're super underrated, and this spot right underneath one of the points is really good for surprising your enemy before you're about to take a team fight. There's also another little hidey hole up here on top tower or Mohawk, whatever you want to call it. Definitely a decent spot, hard to get shot from, hard to get portaled behind, so shout out to the spots on the top tower of Ozone. Alright, so here we are on Stadium. There's a couple of spots, one of which is this grate that goes from the very bottom basement to middle there. Decent spot especially, used to be really good on Hot Zone back in the day. Secondly here, you can actually ride these outer walls close to that tower side there, which is definitely not a bad play if you're ever getting chased and you can't portal. And last but not least, if you go to the lava pit, there's actually a portal kill spot here. When people go through that, they basically are dead. There's no redemption there. So now we're on one of the new maps. This is actually the biggest map in Splitgate Arena Reloaded. So this first spot is right underneath Fubar. It's actually these little rails here. You can sit and chill on these, and it's a super good escape. And then lastly, it's right over there by Fubar. It's basically these outer walls here. You can kind of play in and out of those crates there. So if you pull up, go behind them, you can chill for a little bit. You're going to be out of bounds, but you can always fly straight over, and you should be good to go. Alright, last but certainly not least, we are on Zenith. So you can actually play on those little lights out there by Borealis or outside portal, whatever you want to call them. And it's a super nice head glitch as well. They work very well. As you can see here, you have a decent angle to challenge top mid. And then if you drop down, you can actually access this kind of unique area on the outside of the map. You can chill down here if you ever need to escape, or it can be a outlet for getting your portal kills if you can line things up correctly with that outer wall. So after that, this is a common spot that I really like to utilize whenever I'm outside top mid, is you can sit on top of this, like this piece of architecture here, and challenge outside middle, get a really nice viewpoint. And then lastly, there's these little crevices on both the green and orange side of the map, but you can chill on these and they're really great if anyone's contesting the King of the Hill point. Alrighty, so that was every single secret spot on every arena map in Splitgate Arena Reloaded. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop that like, drop me a sub, show some love. But with that being said, it was an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out.